A very good evening to you once again, and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight. Coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Sam Kadisa. And as we start off this edition tonight, let us inform you that pursuant to the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda of 2003, revised in 2015, especially in its Article 116, today, November 28th, 2022, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, has appointed the following officials: Dr. Sabin Sanzimana, the Minister of Health; Dr. Yvan Butera, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Health; Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Tarsis Munga, Director General of the University Teaching Hospital of Kigali, CHUK, done in Kigali on November 28th, 2022. On behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, signed Dr. Edouard Ngirente, the Prime Minister of Rwanda. And moving on, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, has reiterated that solving the root causes of the conflicts in the eastern DRC and the insecurity in the region is the lasting solution to the issue that has resulted in many deaths and forced many people to flee from their property. Adam Squizera starts off tonight with this report.
This is the third round of the Nairobi peace talks, which is intended to find a solution to the problems of war and insecurity in the eastern part of Democratic Republic of Congo. The peace talks were organized by the East African Community, which brought together the DRC government and multiple armed groups opposing the government. The President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, who attended the peace talks virtually, stated that it is inappropriate for this issue to persist for almost 30 years without a solution.
The primary reason for this persistent crisis is the failure to implement the many agreements that have been reached at various levels and at different times in past years. I most sincerely believe that this time around, these efforts are going to bear good results. The recent resurgence of one armed group, among many others, has received a lot of attention globally, and this comes on top of other unresolved security and political challenges. We therefore welcome the region's swift response and the robust mechanisms being established to save lives in eastern DRC and address the dangerous escalations that threaten neighboring countries, including Rwanda. What is needed today more than ever is steady political will to implement the ongoing regional initiatives, particularly the East African community-led Nairobi peace process and the African Union mediation by President Lorenzo of Angola.
Furthermore, President Paul Kagame noted that solving this crisis must start from its root causes.
This should include seriously addressing the root causes of insecurity once and for all, which will make a real difference in resolving the security concerns of DRC and the neighboring countries. The current framework that the leaders of the region have established and the decisions taken at the last week's summit in Rwanda are a real opportunity to find a durable solution. It is therefore in the interest of all of us to stay the course and not let the situation be a perennial problem. On this, you can count on Rwanda's full support toward a lasting and permanent solution.
Apart from President Paul Kagame, the head of states of Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as representatives of Tanzania and South Sudan, attended these peace talks virtually, while the President of the Republic of Burundi, Evariste Ndayishimiye, who is also the chair of the East African Community, was in Nairobi with the President of Kenya, William Ruto. Today's peace talks were also attended by a special envoy of the United Nations Secretary General for the Great Lakes region, Huang Zia, plus the observers of the African Union and the diplomats from invited countries. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the report. And moving ahead, senators from the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security said that the issue of road accidents is alarming and called on concerned authorities to take action to mitigate the disaster that kills very many people every year. We do have the report. Figures from the Rwanda National Police indicate that in 2018, road accidents killed 597 people and killed 673 people. In 2019, 675 deaths from road accidents were registered in 2020, while 655 road accidents were registered in last year, 2021. According to the Special Guarantee Fund, 990 accidents were reported from July 2019 to June 2022. Among them, 591 accidents, representing 59.7%, were caused by uninsured vehicles, whereas 441 accidents, representing 74.6%, were caused by uninsured motorcycles. According to the senators, the issue is alarming, as the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security, Murangwandagiza Hadija, explains. There are road signs, rules in place to prevent road accidents, but instead of seeing a reduction, they are still high. In the discussions between the committee and the institutions, including the Special Guarantee Fund, the Association of Insurance Companies in Rwanda, and regulatory body RURA, some of the causes of these accidents, including very old school vehicles, trucks, and others, were highlighted. Sometimes we wonder who owns those trucks, who even controls them. Tell us who has that authority, because for us, we are the oversight. Admit that you have failed. Our children, the future of our country, shouldn't be the ones put in old vehicles. Those vehicles should fulfill the requirements of other public transport vehicles in Rwanda. The leaders of these institutions also indicate that these accidents cause losses in different ways, especially for those in the insurance sector. Regulatory body RURA says strict measures are being taken. If they can be punished and have their licenses frozen for a while, it can send a message to their peers to be careful. The National Bank of Rwanda regulation states that the insurer shouldn't pay more than 60% of the insurance fees received, and this doesn't happen with these vehicles. Discussions will be held to see how old vehicles can be stopped completely, not stopping them from a public transport and taking it to carry students or taking it to another place to continue transport. According to RURA, public transporters have started receiving professional service cards with 2,043 issued out of 2,400 applications. Of those, 30 were punished for misconduct. Psychologists urge married couples to refrain from violence in form of emotionally abusive acts that could lead to suicide or homicide and negatively impact the rest of the family, especially the children. Precious Chirezi filed this report.
Responding to problems with consistent verbal and emotional abuse is one of the most cited root causes of spousal violence. With arguments about properties and infidelity in play, hurtful words are inevitable. Most wives are told that they're useless and they're up to no good, and this lowers their self-esteem significantly. According to a behavior psychologist, words that strip the humanity of those they're told have the ability to negatively impact them. After being unable to take any more abuse, some murdered their partner without intending to or die by suicide. The most liable alternative is to accept their issues and seek help from designated personnel in the neighborhood to guide them as they work through it. Behavior psychologists have also pointed out that symptoms of emotional abuse include insomnia, low self-esteem, and excessive solitude. They have in addition urged those who need it to seek professional help. Rwanda Investigation Bureau says keeping your partner at the edge of emotional torment is an act of violence that should not be condoned, and victims have been urged not to suffer in silence. Some words are meant to torment wives and mothers for giving birth to a certain gender consistently or not being able to conceive, and I am asking them to approach RIB officers with their concerns to prevent further abuse. RIB has recorded a total of 8,048 spousal violence complaints in the last 2 years, 96% of which are from women and 4% from men, constituting for 7,745 and 303 respectively. Precious Chidezi, RTV News.
And as we move ahead to other matters, on Monday, representatives of centers that care for people with rare diseases established the African Alliance of Rare Diseases, which will assist in advocating for people with these diseases for them to get access to health care. This was reiterated in a conference held on rare diseases in Kigali on Monday. Rosalind Kanja from Rare Diseases Kenya points out some of the challenges that are still faced on the African continent.
Stigma is key in Africa. You can't talk about rare diseases without talking about stigma. Let's look at a family that might have rare diseases appearing in different children. So what will the family member or people around that family say? Oh, it's your caste, you did or did not do anything. So instead of these people going to the hospital and looking for a solution, they'll be going to the witch doctors and the like. So that means that this disease tends to progress or is not managed well.
Some of these rare diseases found in Rwanda include Down syndrome, Williams syndrome, autism, and many other diseases. Many of these diseases are generally based on disorders. Worldwide, rare diseases account for more than 7,000 people. Some of the representatives of centers that care for people with rare diseases and other disabilities in various African countries point out some of the importance of this alliance that was established.
Akamaro ka mbere kajyanye n'ubukangurambaga cyo twunda kwita awareness.
The first importance is to raise awareness about these diseases. Yes, we usually do advocacy at the national level, but this African Alliance of Rare Diseases will strengthen what we do and raise awareness on the whole continent. The aim is to make sure that everyone with these diseases should be cared for, be it in Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, and many other African countries. But this will also raise awareness to the other concerned institutions.
In as much as different countries may be doing well individually, we believe that there's a lot of experiences that could be shared, as well as some resources that could be pulled, as well as also having a bigger voice as a continent to speak up and advocate for the community. We believe that in that way it will be easy for government to also listen and be able to also draw in more stakeholders. There are a couple of resources that are available in pockets, and we could pool all of them together to serve other communities that may be not have access to those resources.
The conference, which will last for 2 days, is expected to establish an operating system for this alliance. The African Alliance of Rare Diseases will be operational in more than 15 countries on the African continent. And On matters related to health, the Rwandan Red Cross has officially launched an emergency medical service and a first aid training center, which will be helping the public to access first aid medication and ambulance from the trained personnel. The Secretary General of the Rwandan Red Cross, Kanamaga Apollinaire, points out this center will help in speeding up basic first aid to a mass of people.
Our goal is that we can reach to many people, since anyone who may need first aid or ambulance from Red Cross could find it through dialing our toll-free. We collaborate with others so that people could access ambulance, which have skilled personnel on the use of those ambulances as well.
Division Manager of Emergency Medical Services Division at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, RBC, highlights more of the importance of this center on the population.
Even as local citizens, we have advantages in both ways, including that if a citizen needs ambulance urgently, therefore, in his community, there may be someone who was trained, who might be providing that first aid as they are waiting for ambulance, which is an advantage, that whoever goes with an ambulance have some skills in first aid.
Additionally, this center will train volunteers and health counselors, hence to offer the basic support to the communities near them. Ahead, the Jikundiro Kuribose initiative, which was sponsored by USAID, advises parents and other community in general to cooperate with different institutions in the reduction of malnutrition among children, pregnant mothers, as well as adolescents, since it is one of the characteristics of safe and healthy families. They noted that this while holding a press conference in order to encourage the Rwandan community, especially those who were helped by the project, to continue implementing one of the lessons that were provided with the aim of eradicating poverty in families.
To a mother who has a child, we urge her that her participation in nutrition, growth and health activities that benefit the child is necessary. It is her responsibility as a parent, because the government will provide that help just to support her. Secondly, is that they should get that information for the sake of their children and family's well-being.
They understand the power they have to change themselves by taking actions, you know? And not by being dependent on others. But it can be small, it can be bigger. But action can always lead to betterment, you know. So there is no results, positive results in action.
And this sums up our tonight's edition. On behalf of the entire news production, as well as the technical team that made it happen, and myself, many thanks for being with us on this edition of Rwanda Television News. We wish you safe and a fruitful week ahead. Goodbye.